Well, we got it in the barn, ready for disassembly now. First time this tractor's been in a barn in decades, if ever. Like Dad just said, some of those old farms never even had barns. Of course, the lighting isn't as good in the barn in here. I apologize, but I'm going to show you a few things we've noticed on this tractor so far. This final drive was completely broken and brazed back together at some point. I've never seen that before on any of these big block Allises. That's pretty impressive. Somebody put some effort into fixing that. That, when we had this wheel off to pull the pinion drive to make the wheels roll, this side is completely shot. The final drive is completely wore out and the pinion is completely wore out. On the left side here, the pinion is pretty much shot. The final drive looks pretty darn good though, so that might be a good usable part there. I already showed you this throttle adapter kit. I don't know exactly what they had going on here, but like I said, it looks like they had it rigged up to like a foot pedal. There is no serial number on this tractor. The previous owner is still looking through the stuff. There's a slim chance they might come up with it because his grandpa is the one that got this tractor. His grandpa has since passed, and they don't know if he had stashed that plate, serial number plate somewhere or not. Based on the throttle quadrants, I'm pretty sure it's a 26 because the 25s were different. So we can roughly base it on that. The fenders were on the tractor, but they were so rotten we just literally tore them off and left them there in the scrap pile because it was just junk. I got the better ones on my other tractors to use as templates, so there was no sense in bringing them. This tractor is rough. There'll be some good parts on it for sure, but bringing this one back would be a huge undertaking. So as of right now, this will be the parts machine for my other two tractors. Whether or not a guy collects up more parts and somebody else puts this one together or whatever remains to be seen, but for now it'll be the parts unit. We'll see what we got when we're all said and done. But because I texted a few pictures to a few of my friends here last night when we got it home, just to kind of show them, and they're all commenting, "Oh yeah, it looks pretty good, bring that one back too, do 3 of them." I'm like, no, it's pretty rough. In pictures it doesn't look terrible, but when you're here in real life, it must have sat somewhere very wet for a very long time, because this heavy cast front axle, there's literally holes rotten right through it. This web on the bottom is just gone on this end. It is it's rough. The spoke on the front are rotted right through in a lot of places. I mean, that's thick, heavy spokes. That takes a long time to rot that much off. Like that wheel, it could be fixed. We're not going to scrap it or anything like that. But it's as is, it needs some fixing to be usable. Same with up here, holes right through the spokes. Oil pan, of course, is rotten out just like my other tractors. The bottom of these push rod tubes are all completely just rotten out. The top of the transmission cover here, that's thick form plate, rotten right through. It's been sitting a long time. The rear platform, which is still in the back of the truck, You know, these are heavy angle iron brackets, right, that hold the platform, and they're rotting right off. It's actually kind of crazy how rotten. I don't know how how long something has to sit to get that rotten, but it's been a long time. More rotten. This oil line tube is completely gone here. The front axle has been fixed and it's rotten out again on both sides. Beefed up. That must be kind of a weak point. The other tractors are kind of bad there too. We're trying to work on getting these push rods freed up. They're all stuck on the bottom end where they go into the roller lifters, and those got to get loosened up before we can pull the head off, which of course is still stuck too. Might be a project to get this engine apart. Here's the engine serial number tag, if you can read that. 15,569. We're just looking at all these oil lines, and just for future reference, how they were hooked up. So the top port on the oil pressure gauge went to the block here, and the bottom port teed into the oil line along the side of the engine. I don't know if those were, I don't think those were on any of the other tractors. Got oil line from here to the pump, and from the pump there over to, where does that one go?
Down to the, that must be your pickup.
Oh, that must be the pickup, yeah, it goes down to the bottom of the oil pan. And here, there. We got all but one of the push rods out. We got the one broke off. Dad's getting excited over here.
Clean in there.
Oh wow. The inside of the governor is clean. That's a really, really good sign.
That's a really nice sign.
Look at those gears. They look good.
Look at that.
Don't drop them in the sand now.
Everything spins.
That's exciting there. We might have some good governor stuff.
Might have a good part.
At least the one governor is completely shot. On my other tractors.
That's a good sign.
Yeah, clean in there. Nice. I was saying, yeah, we got all the push rods out. Except for this one, still stuck in there, broke off. They're no good. They're rotten on the bottoms. But we got them out. And then the keepers here. Pretty sure the only purpose of them is to keep the tubes for the push rods. That clamps them down, holds them in place. Another rotten thing I don't think I showed is look at the spark plug tube. Just, you know, it's supposed to come out to there. Just gone. Rotten. Swiss cheese. I'll have to get these spark plugs out and show you guys. See if anybody's seen anything like that before. We never have. Once we get them out, I'll show you them in the daylight. And I might as well show you the other parts here. We got them all on the trailer. This is the drawbar. It's pretty sad shape. It's broken. Bent, it's been reinforced. It's supposed to be the ears here and here that are broke, but it's the only one I got besides the one on the other tractor, which is also broken, so we'll have to potentially fix that. This is the platform. Again, it's just amazing how much rotten there is. This one isn't good for much, but the drawbar for a C picked up. Not for this project. There's the intake that we already took off the tractor. This is a seat I picked up at the LeSueur swap meet, thinking it was the same. It's a little bit different, but in a pinch it would work. I think I already showed you the seat assembly here. Pretty rotten, but at least it's shows what it was supposed to be, and we got the casting there. I'll have to compare it when we get it back to the barn. I think it's the same as like a 2035 short fender. but I'm not even 100% sure yet. We'll compare them when we get it back there. That's the fan assembly. It was on the tractor. We took that off. And that's not all bent up, so we'll be able to use that in places that
actually spins, yeah.
actually spins, yeah. And this is the radiator. I think I briefly showed you that. But it's, here again, it's amazing how much metal is missing. This isn't good for much, but there again, we got the crank arm, spinner. There's a couple things it'll be. Top tank, maybe a guy could save. There's some holes in it, but it might be able to weld it up. Depends on how rotten it is on the inside. We won't know until we take it all apart. Kind of funny. In past videos, I've showed you one of my other tractors where the radiator was put together backwards, and this is another example of that. These are supposed to be on the back of the radiator for the fan shroud. Somebody had this radiator apart at some point and put it back together with the sides flip-flopped backwards. There's the broken throttle control handle, the linkage here. This is part of the radiator that broke off there, which is junk. These are the final drive pinions. Like I said, that was the one side. We've been the right side, I guess, completely wore out. And that's the left side there. Worn, but not completely wore out. So I was curious if this seat was the same as the one on my 612. It's not. It's really close. There's different number of holes, and the center section's a little bit different. Shape and size is just a little bit different. Pretty darn close though. And I just noticed there's actually. Hey, keep it down over there. Yeah, there's a number D267. Does that mean anything to anybody? Got the head taken off. Things are actually looking surprisingly good considering. Nothing obviously wrong or broken. The manifold, exhaust manifold, appears to be okay, because one of my other ones has got a broken ear on it, so we could potentially use this manifold in place of it. First peek into the cylinders. Of course, they're full of junk.
They weren't full of water though.
No, that's a good sign. I'll try to get them off next, I guess. Okay, wise YouTube viewers, what the heck are these spark plugs? Dad and I have never seen anything like these before. Electrodes are like right up to that center. This one has 3, or the rest of them have 4. Oh, I guess that one's a 3 as well. 2 or 3, 2 or 4s. And then they had these goofy ends that threaded on to the end of the spark plug. Never seen anything like these before. Is that some type of a marine thing where it'd all be sealed up watertight, or I don't know. Let me know. Yeah, another valuable part taken out. Got the bottom governor housing taken up out of the block. That's good to have, because that one tractor of mine is broken right there. So we've got a good replacement part there. Like we said earlier, the internal guts look really good. The shaft isn't even loose in there or anything. Things actually might be in better shape inside of this than we even thought. Based on the outside, you would have never guessed that. So it looks like it's the same seat assembly as the 2035 here. It's just completely missing on the bottom, rotten off. But it started out life as the same thing. Different pan seat. A little more progress here. We got the head mostly stripped down now. We still have to set up the head in the milling machine and drill out the manifold studs, because of course most of those broke off. But other than that, and a few other miscellaneous little studs to remove. This head is cleaned up. We haven't found any major damage to note yet. It'll be a lot of cleaning before we can determine if it's a good usable head or not. There's still a ton of mouse nests and dirt and gunk in the water passages and everywhere. But an initial inspection, it doesn't look terrible as far as we know, knock on wood. This should be a good usable head. So we got some options at least. I don't know if I probably didn't show you the other side of it yet. I mean, yeah, it's crusty, but I've seen worse. There's the broken off manifold studs.